whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
So have y'all ever had nightmares or bad dreams or, well, things along that category? Well, I know I have. And what better way to talk about them in A Nightmare on Elm Street? Now, if I'm being honest, I was never really a fan of Freddy growing up. I mean, I've seen Wes Craven's New Nightmare a few times. That one was the most I've caught on TV. And I've seen Freddy vs. Jason, of course. But I rarely saw the other ones on TV. Probably because I avoided them. I was more of a Halloween only type guy and a Jason, but mainly Halloween, Michael Myers. That was the GOAT to me. I would kind of refuse myself to watch anything else other than those. I would look forward to that. But this isn't a Michael video. This is a Freddy video. Me watching these videos now, these movies now, has given me the opportunity to realize, man, I have missed out. If I had watched these when I was a kid, I would have been terrified. And there are still scenes in this franchise that terrify me, even now at 17. If it stems from Freddy possessing people, or if it goes from Freddy in a new Hollywood type environment, or if it just goes from demon possessed Freddys, like in Freddy vs. Jason. But we're not here to talk about any of those. We're here to talk about where it all started. In A Nightmare on Elm Street, released in 1984 by Wes Craven. If you've heard of Wes Craven before, you probably know him for Scream. This was the top first game for him, in my opinion. This is like where he really kicked off in horror. Because think about it, you didn't really have too much from him back then. He's mainly known for Scream, and this movie, and New Nightmare. That count, but you get the point. So yeah, today we'll be talking about A Nightmare on Elm Street, released in 1984, starring Leather Hanging Cap. I think that's what it is. Yeah, Robert Englund, Johnny Depp, a few other characters like that. Yeah, the movie's premise is very simple. It's basically Freddy Krueger, a guy, child killer, burned by the townsfolk after committing several heinous murders on children, terrorizes the dreams of the kids and people on Elm Street, and whatever happens to you in the dream world happens to you in real life. So if you die in the dream world, you're dying in real life. That's all bets off. There's no getting around it. And I think that's what makes Freddy 10 times more terrifying than any other slasher, because you can't get away from him. You can't not sleep, because either you'll die of sleep deprived, of being sleep deprived, or you're gonna die because eventually you're gonna fall asleep. Everyone got to sleep. There's no win around it. So we'll go through this franchise and see how everyone deals with that in the series, because this series has its ups and its lows, as much as most slashers do. But yeah, so let's kick it right off with my positives. The biggest positive I get this movie is the portrayal of Freddy Krueger. Robert Englund does his best in this movie. And the makeup effects on his face, top tier, especially when he's coming out at the end towards Nancy. Perfect. They keep him in the shadows. He's more demonic. The voice is more deep, kind of like in part 2. Like when Freddy's just at his darkest, it is terrifying to see this. And it's just creepy. The score is perfect. The atmosphere, the way the transitions are, like, you might think this was made with CapCut, but no, this is actually a pretty good transition, being that it's kind of like a dream type, nightmare type movie. It makes sense for these type of transitions, because just like it's kind of playing with your minds, like, are these flashes in between dream sequence, or this, like, it makes you think about it. I never really thought about it like that. And the kills are outstanding. Best one goes to Johnny Depp's character. Glenn. He's just sleeping, and then Freddy's arm just comes out and it gets him, and it's just like the makeup, the amount of effort that went into this movie is just undeniably good. Like, you can't argue. This is one of the best original slashers I've ever watched. And to think that I missed out for so long because I was only a Michael type of guy, this is another thing that just goes to show you'll never know if you like something until you watch it. And I had to find out the hard way, unfortunately. but it was still worth the watch. I watched all of them except Freddy's Dead, which I will unfortunately have to watch because I heard nothing but bad things about. I seen the trailer when I was young because I've always watched horror movie trailers. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. The characters are all great too. The cast, like I said, Heather Langenkamp, Robert Englund, Johnny Depp, others too. It's really spot on with the performances. I didn't really see a single strand of bad acting, which will unfortunately be a thing with later sequels, but hey, first gets his credit. But it's just, yeah, man, like, there's nothing much I can say about this movie that hasn't been said already. This might be the shortest Nightmare review that we go through. The dream sequences are amazing, and the kills, like I said, spot on. The first kill, Tina's kill, spot on, perfect. It's traumatizing. You got her boyfriend out there just watching, like, he's like, what is going on? He's witnessing, then he's getting framed, then he goes out in a way that makes it seem like, are they really killing? Is it how he killed Tina, and then he killed himself? It's like, it's confusing. Let's talk about the ending, too. The ending, yeah, a lot to talk about there. Let's unpack this. So, Nancy pulls Freddy out the dream world, and then this epic chase around the house. It's really intense because you're like, when I first watched this, I was on the edge of my bed. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? Because like, you see him in the real world, and then you have everyone across the street, and she's calling, trying to get help, and they're just standing. No one's really coming like that. And you're like, what's going on? And me not being a rule stickler with the franchise, I didn't really know too much of the rules because I was my first time watching the first movie, like actually watching it. So like, I'm kind of like, are they gonna get him? Are they gonna get him? Even though they said he was burned, and like earlier by Nancy's mom, she says they burned him and she had his gloves. So I was kind of like, ooh, what's going on? It's like a demonic supernatural entity, which it kind of is. But at the same time, you kind of wonder, like, are the adults ever gonna get to see him? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because to think about it, being with the movies I have seen, no one else really sees Freddy but certain people, from what I noticed. And now that I'm more familiar with the rules, I watch more, I see what they're talking about with that. But yeah, so then it goes down to the boiler room where his gloves were at, and then she sets him on fire, kind of like how he died. And then they come through the house, you just see Freddy's footsteps, and then she goes upstairs and sees Freddy on top of killing her mom. And it's literally, she killed herself, even though we all know who did it. So yeah, and when the dad pulled the blanket over, I'm like, what's going on? Does he know? Or it's just her mom set that? Does it look like her mom just set herself on fire? Because, I mean, that's kind of what it is. I think that's kind of might be what it is, because there was footsteps going up the stairs, the fiery footsteps, and the mom was on the bed on fire, so it kind of made it look like she set herself on fire and went upstairs. That might be my best guess with that. I might have to do more research on that, but that's what I got from it. But yeah, it's like Freddy comes back up after her dad leaves. He comes back up and he's like,
"You think you was gonna get away from me?"
This is terrifying. Bro, he's not playing no games. And then Nancy, she used like, because this is a trend with Freddy, he's here by fear. If you're not afraid of him, he can't really harm you. You use no fear against him. You just don't have fear. It might be easier said than done, but once you do it, and that's why I think Heather Langenkamp, Nancy's character, is the best in that performance. This really showcases how strong of a fighter girl she is. Better than Laurie in Halloween, and I'm a Halloween guy. Better than Alice, damn sure better than Alice from Friday the 13th, the first one, damn sure better. She is way courageous, way more entwined, uses way more critical thinking, and does not stop until, she gets rid of Freddy, which is basically a figment of her imagination to everyone else, but in reality, we already know. You just gotta stop being afraid of him. And then we get the ending, of course, with the blow-up doll. This shit was hilarious when I watched it, that's all I'm gonna say. Like, it's clearly obvious a doll. Like, man, all I have to say though, A Nightmare on Elm Street, top tier horror movies. Like, I will be doing all these movies from now on. Like, I'll be doing, next time I'm gonna be doing part 2. Then we'll go part 3, so and so on. And we'll also tap in on some other franchises, of course, because I'm a horror guy. I gotta talk about horror. Come on. But yeah, A Nightmare on Elm Street released in 1984, made over like 29 million or something, $25 million at the box office. Is it $25 million at the box office? Yeah, it did surprisingly well that they rushed a sequel. A year, not even a year later, like this shit came out in 1985. Love that movie. I'm not gonna lie, I love Freddy's Revenge, but we'll talk about that another time. But my thoughts, great movie. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you watch it because, man, if you don't, you're missing out. Don't be me who waited years and years to see this. Fantastic watch. Pacing's good, acting's good, kills are good, atmosphere is good. There's nothing more in a terrible, terrifying villain, Freddy Krueger. But with that being said, drop a like, subscribe, comment, let me know what y'all think about Nightmare on Elm Street, and I'll see y'all in the next one.